A beautiful morning to you out there and welcome to yet another edition of Sport Talk on Atlantic Television Network. My name is Emmanuel Mike, glad to be here this morning to bring you all the latest gist coming in from the world of sport this morning. Top on our menu, Ajagba Bakole fight scheduled for May 3rd. Osaka exit Indian Wells in first round. Coming in from the world of football, Hurricane Brace sinks Bayern Leverkusen in the UEFA Champions League. Details of this and many more will be yours after this time out.
The board, management and staff of Morrison Media Group presents the 2025 anniversary lecture of Atlantic Television Network and Wish 99.5 FM. Theme: Imperative of Private Media in Sustainable Development.
Keynote speaker, Professor Tony Iradia, erudite scholar and broadcast guru. Chairman, Professor Umar Pat, President, Society of Broadcasters, Nigeria, and Vice Chancellor, Federal University of Kashiri, Gombe State. Panelists, Chief Honorable Arthur C. Kalabo, Information and Communication Expert, Dr. Haka Tuwait, Lecturer, Public Relations, Media and Communication, Dr. Bekwele Lawrence D.K., Lecturer, Marketing Communication and Public Relations, Opaka Dakuba, Chairman, South Nigerian Union of Journalists, Susan Serakara Nwikana, Chairperson, Nawach, River State, Chief Host, Dr. Chinyere Igwe, Esquire, FSM, FIMC, FNIMN, MNIM, ARPA, MIPPA, Chairman, Morrison Group. Date, 10th of March 2025. Venue, Dimeji Banquet Hall, Gay Place Hotel, Kilometer 5 East West Road by Obinkwere Flyover, Rumosi, Port Harcourt. Time is 11 a.m.
Call Kehinde Paul Obofadi on 0802 301 5728. That is 0802 301 5728 or info@atlanticnetwork.tv or info@wishfm995ph.com. You can also call Laurentia Ogu on 0818 344 6746. That is 0818 344 6746 or lead content at atlanticnetwork.tv. This is signed by management.
All right, yeah, welcome back from that short break. This morning with me is Kingsley. Welcome to Sport Talk.
Thank you very much for having me, Michael. I'm very happy to be here.
Happy to be here indeed. Let's get started from the world of boxing this morning because heavyweight boxer Ifeanyi Jagba and Martin Bakole will now square off on May 3rd in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia after their originally planned New York headliner was scheduled with the fight set to take place on the undercard of Saudi Canelo Alvarez super middleweight championship match. The scheduling comes in the wake of Bakole's recent knockout loss to Joseph Parker in February, where the Congolese fighter was defeated in the second round after stepping in as a late replacement for an ill Daniel Dubois. Despite the setback, Bakole has quickly accepted the opportunity to face Nigerians Ajagba, maintaining his position as a top 5 heavyweight in the multi-rankings. An official involved in the deal confirmed the details to boxing scene, noting that the fight will now be part of the high-profile Saudi Arabian boxing event. All right, let's hold it from there. Kingsley, Bakole and Ifeanyi Jagba. Don't forget, just a few weeks ago, the Congolese had to, maybe more coming like a makeshift replacement, you know, for Daniel Dubois, who got it. But then he was defeated in the second round of that very one. But then the man did not even think of taking any rest at all. He wanted to pick up another fight against our own Nigerian Efia Jagba. Do you think that he can actually stand the pressure after that last minute defeat against Joseph Parker?
I think everything is in place, you know, for Bakole at this point in time. I think he has what it takes, you know, to be able to contend against Efia Jagba. Efia Jagba was definitely the opponent he was preparing for, not you know, Joseph Parker that he lost against. And don't forget, he actually honored that, you know, fight in the space of 2 days or thereabouts. So he wasn't really much, you know, prepared for Daniel Dubois. There's one thing about boxing, you know, when you're preparing for a particular opponent, you have to go into your training camp, you know. You have to also study you know, your opponent tactics and know what it takes. But for that of Bakole, he didn't really, of course, you know, prepare for the fight, you know, against Joseph Parker. That was why the man, of course, you know, couldn't hold his own in that particular bout. This was the bout that he was preparing for before that one actually come up. So for me, with this, I don't think there's any, you know, issue for Bakole at this point in time. It's on a very good ground to be able to compete against Efia Jagba. And for me, I also think Jagba has also taken time as well to prepare. This is a fight that everyone has been anticipating, and now it's going to get down, you know, at this point in time. So for me, I think Efia Jagba as well has also trained. If we take a look at, you know, their statistics so far, I think both fighters have not really done badly over the years. For Bakole, 21 fights so far, just 2 losses and 16 knockouts, and for Jagba, a record of 20 fights, 1 loss and 14 knockouts. So you see that both fighters, they've done so well, you know, over the years when it has to do with their career. So it promises to be, you know, an exciting one. I really want, you know, if you're Jagba, you know, to see how he can get this one. This fight definitely, you know, will bring him to the limelight. To make him, of course, be in that pole position to contend with some of the big names, of course, we have in the world of boxing. So I hope for the best for them. Let's just see what, you know, comes up in this particular bout.
We hope for the best for our own Efia Jagba to see what comes out in that very one. But Kingsley, you try to, you know, pinpoint some of their stats individually out there. The Congolese, 21 fights, 16 knockouts. Efia Jagba, 20 fights, 14 knockouts. So you take a look at the stats, they are very, very close out there, meaning that they have been doing very great. So going by these stats, who do you think that, you know, this bout is going to favor? You think it's just going to be a 50-50 thing?
It's more like a 50-50 thing. It's more like a 50-50 thing to say at this point in time. But talking about who the bout is going to favor, I think for me, if your Jaguar have a slight advantage in this particular one, coming into this one, I think the man, like I mentioned, has actually taken his time to train. Probably, I believe he has also studied and monitored his opponent and know what kind of a boxer he is, probably his strengths and his weakness as well. So if you take a look at it, I think if Jagba has been the one who has rested and continue to train, you know, heading down this particular one. It's going to boil down to, you know, tactics, who of course, you know, could throw those deadly punches that could, of course, you know, take you, you know, on the ground. If you take a look at it, Bakole has more knockout bouts, you know, than Efia Jagba.
Yeah.
And talking about the match being, you know, the match will end, of course, in knockouts. I think that would be, you know, there's a slim chance for the match to end in knockout. It's going to be by decision from the judges, from what I'm saying, because I think if you take a look at it, both boxers are close, really, really close in terms of performance level so far. But I still think if Jagba has that slight advantage in this one.
All right, we think that if Jagba has a slight advantage heading to this very big fight out there, we wish him well, and we'll also keep our eyes open to see how that one pounds out. I tell you, it's been a while that a Nigerian name surfaced on the heavyweight division, talking about boxing world. But hope that this time around, if Jagba is going to do the needful to put us back on track as among the heavyweight, you know, fighters in the world. Moving on to the world of tennis, this morning Cameron Norrie is into the second round of the BNP Paribas Open as he saw off Luca Nardi in a little more than an hour. Norrie, who won the tournament in 2012, took control early in Indian Wells and rode to a 6-0, 6-4 victory. The British #2 dominated the first set with his service returns. 21-year-old Italian winning only 8 points on his own serve. The second set to prove tighter as Nardi, who beat Novak Djokovic at Indian Wells in 2024, got on the board, but he was never able to threaten the Norrie service. Kingsley, this British player, they flatter to deceive most of the time. Cameron Norrie has actually started on a very fine footing. Do you see him going all the way to the final?
Seeing on the way to the final, I think we just we can't conclude that because of how inconsistent he too has been, over time. We'll see them, of course, trying to get to the top, but they never get it done. That's always the problem of the British players. They never get it done. We've seen how some of them are struggling. Even the Cameron Norrie we talked about, and so the likes of Jack Draper. You talk about the likes of Emerald Raducanu as well. These are some of British top names that everyone really have that high hopes on them. But at the end of the day, they still find it difficult, of course, to make their fans happy. At the end of the day, for me, I can't just really say that Cameron Norrie has a chance to get to make it to the final. I can't really have my say on that, but I would just have to keep our fingers crossed and see how he progresses in this particular one. This, of course, you say an impressive performance, but can he keep this one going? Can he be consistent? That's the big question. Let's just see how this one, of course, will pan out for him.
Let's see how this one pans out for Norrie out there. Meanwhile, Norrie will face a Czech 23rd seed, Jiril Čeka, in the second round. Jack Draper is seeded and has first round bye. He will face his old junior rival Jacob Fenley if the British debutant can get past Brazilian teenager star, talking about João Fonseca in that very one. Moving on, but still talking about the Indian Wells. Naomi Osaka crashed out of the first round at Indian Wells on Wednesday, falling 6-4, 6-4 to Camila Osorio in her first tournament since injury forced her out of the Australian Open. Former world #1 Osaka, now ranked 56 in the world, looked rusty against the 52nd ranked Colombian, struggling to find the range on her powerful ground stroke. It was a disappointing return for Osaka, whose year got off to a promising start when she reached the final at the Auckland, her first final since 2022, only to withdraw with an abdominal injury after winning the first set. Kingsley, another disappointing outing for the former world #1, talking about Naomi Osaka. What do you make of her, bleeping form so far after the injury and after giving birth to her daughter, talking about Shai? She has found it very, very difficult, to improve on her game. Do you think it is time for her to just drop the baton and say bye-bye to the game?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think the last tournament she played, that was in Auckland. She got to the final.
Yeah.
It was because of injury. Maybe she would have probably won that one. She even won the first set before that injury came. So I think Naomi Osaka still has what it takes. If you take a look at the life of female tennis players, it has not always been easy. Whenever they give birth, returning has not always been that rosy for most of them. Has not always been that rosy for most of them. So it's going to take time. I think this is about a year after she gave birth to her daughter, and she's been trying, of course, to regain back her form. I saw what she did in the last Australian Open. She really came up high. We saw that high spirit from her, and I think, of course, if she continued this way before the season runs out, I think Naomi Osaka definitely, of course, will pick back her form. This is former world #1, of course, we're talking about at this moment. So it's not yet time for her to, of course, say she will call it a quit. How old is she? She's still young, it's just for her to see how to regain back her confidence level on the court, and as well see how to, of course, be able to get the games, done and dusted. So there, yes, we understand it's a disappointing one for her to be ousted at this stage of the competition, but I think Naomi Osaka still has what it takes. It's just a phase, and I think she's going to really see how to bounce back, after this particular. And this same thing also applies to some other tennis players. We've seen so many tennis players who have given birth, they come back to the game and find it difficult. Even the very best, talking about Serena Williams, who won 23 Grand Slam, of course, for herself. When she gave birth, coming back was a very difficult thing. Gaining her momentum, trying to see how she can get back to the top level, it was very, very difficult. So I think childbearing has not always, favored most female tennis players, and I think that's what is happening to Naomi Osaka at this point in time. But for me, age is still on her side, and I think she can bounce back to, reckoning.
Of course, age is still on the side of Naomi Osaka, and Kingsley thinks that she has what it takes to bounce back, to reckoning once more. But moving on, Osaka, who returned from a 15-month break last year after giving birth to her daughter Shai in 2023, was also forced to retire from her third-round match at the Australian Open with an abdominal strain, just like you heard from Kingsley. Out there, we wish her well in her endeavor to actually bounce back to reckoning. But Emma Raducanu will begin a trial period with a Slovakian coach, Vladimir Platinic, when she plays her first round match at the Indian Wells today. The 49-year-old was coaching Luluson when the New Zealander qualifier beat Raducanu in the fourth round of the Wimbledon last July. Platinic worked with her compatriot Dominika Chukova when she reached the semi-final of the French Open in 2009, and has also coached Russian Darian Kasastina and Veronika Kutametova in that very well. Kingsley, Emma Raducanu trying to work with a coach that have actually worked with other, big name players. How do you see this partnership panning out?
I don't know a decision for this coach. Maybe because the player that the coach, coach before actually beat her. Maybe that's why, of course, she's going for this particular one this time around. Emma Raducanu and coaching issues still continues at this point in time. I can't really give count of how many coaches she has changed. Since after that, U.S. Open she won. I think that was in 2021 thereabouts. But for me, I think Emma Raducanu, she really has to work on herself. It's not about changing coaches. You change coach today, change coach tomorrow. You have to work on yourself. Apart from the fact that a coach has to be there, you as a player really have to take initiative. You as a player really have to, of course, be able to motivate yourself and tell yourself that you can do it and maintain that top level of performance. What's the job of the coach? To give you tactics, to tell you what to do, guide you when you're facing a particular opponent. Yes, but whatever your coach tells you, will definitely is what you're supposed to do. But there's how you go into a game and your coach tell you, do like this, and when you enter into the game and you saw a different thing entirely, you have to change strategy. You have to see how to, add whatever your coach has told you and what you have to see what you can do. But for Emma Raducanu, I think her case has not been, what a lot of tennis fans, expect at this point in time. You bring this coach today, you don't, and then you go into a tournament, you don't perform well, you sack the person. You bring another coach, you go into the tournament, you don't perform, you sack the coach. No, that's not how things, are being done. You have to see how to work with your coach over time, and then you'll be able to, gain that momentum, that confidence, and then you understand, the coach. Take a look at what Djokovic is doing with Andy Murray. This is the first time Andy Murray is coaching. We saw what they did together, at the Australian Open, and now he's also taking him as well, to the Indian Wells, despite the fact that he didn't win the Australian Open. So you have to, gain more confidence, with your coach. The same thing with the likes of Aryna Sabalenka. Her team is what she has been working with. Yes, she has been progressing. That is why. That's because she listened to them and also go into the court to do those things that they have asked her to do, and as well, put up what she knows. So for me, Emerald Raducanu has a long way to go, and I think she really have to, get up from this. Will I say? I don't want to say I don't want to say the word in my mind, but I think Emerald Raducanu, she really have to step up. She really has to step up. She's a young, promising tennis player that when she came into limelight, everyone, of course, had that much confidence on her. Everyone was thinking that Emerald Raducanu was going to be the next big thing, in female tennis. But that's not been the case. And I think whatever is going on at this point in time, whatever she's going through, somehow she also has a hand in it.
Of course, she also has a hand in whatever she's going through right now. Meanwhile, Raducanu, who has been without a permanent coach since Nick Bagadi stood down for health reason after the two worked together, had been without a permanent coach, just like Kingsley said, and it's not a good one for her, because I tell you, changing coaches frequently doesn't really, help you to gain that stability. Let's see if we can track some results coming from the world of NBA, this morning, because there are some games that actually went down. Boston Celtics got a bit of Portland Trail Blazers 128 to 118. It ended. Charlotte Hornets also lost at home to Minnesota Timberwolves 125 to 110. Cleveland Cavaliers also got a bit of Miami Heat 112 to 107. And the Washington Wizards defeated Utah Jazz 125 to 122. Milwaukee Bucks as well got a bit of Dallas Mavericks 137 to 107. It ended in favor of Dallas Mavericks. Denver Nuggets also got a bit of Sacramento Kings 116 to 110. It ended. Memphis Grizzlies lost at home to Oklahoma City Thunders, who could not to turn down. LA Clippers got a better of Detroit Pistons in a match of very low scoring, 91 to 89. It ended in that very well. Well, Kingsley, my attention here is about the impressive display of Boston Celtics. They are seated second in the Eastern Conference and doing pretty well. Do you see them as one of the team this season alongside Oklahoma City to possibly go for the title?
Yes, of course. I think Boston Celtics, they've shown resilience, they've shown consistency, this time. Last 3 seasons, I think we saw them in the finals. And now, last season wasn't a very good one for them. But this time around, I think they have tried to see how they can put themselves in order and, of course, compete, in a very fine fashion. So for me, I think Boston Celtics, with the way they've played so far, they have what it takes, of course, to be able to challenge any team this time around, for the title. We just hope that, injury do not, play into the team, because that's one thing, of course, that, depletes performance of the team. So I just hope that with what they are doing now, the crops of players on ground, they will be injury-free. That's what, of course, will give them that edge this season. But so far, so good. It's been a very fantastic performance for Boston Celtics.
So far, so good. It's been an impressive show for Boston Celtics out there in the NBA, because they are doing very, very well. Let's head straight to the world of football. This morning, starting from the home scene, as the Nigerian National League has entered its mid-season break, as it's set to resume for the second stanza of the 2024-2025 season from Friday, March 21st. To Sunday, March 23rd, 2025, across its 4 conferences. Is in Conference A, B, C, and D. The first stanza of the season concluded on Thursday, March 4th, 2025, with teams battling for top spot in their respective group and conference standing. After the first stanza in Conference A, we have Crown FC leading with 21 points and plus 4 goal difference, followed by Warri Wolves with 20 points and plus 7 goals different in that very well. Smart City of Lagos hold the 3rd position with 18 points plus 5 goals. In Conference B, we have Kun Khalifa of Owerri topping the table with 25 points and plus 7 goals different, while Osun United is 2nd with 22 points and an identical goal difference. Solution Football Club is in the 3rd position with 17 points. In Conference C, we see Wikitoris also, topping that very one with 13 points plus 7 goals different. Mighty Jet follows closely with 11 points plus a 3-goal difference, while Gombe United occupy third position with 9 points in that very one. In Conference D, we have Yobe Desert Stars of Damaturu leading with 11 points, followed by Basira FC with 10 points, and Doma United also with 10 points in that very. The NNL transfer windows is currently open and will close on Wednesday, March 19th, 2025. Clubs are encouraged to utilize this period to strengthen their squad before the league resumes. All right, Kingsley, the NNL first stanza, they have gone on break this time around. What is your total evaluation from what you've seen from the first stanza?
Yeah, I think for me, in terms of organization, it's been top-notch. It's been top-notch from what we've seen. We must give kudos to the organizers of the league. I think there was, before the season got started, there were attempts to, put the league on TV. And I think maybe they are still on that, as we speak, to make sure that, the Nigerian National League games are also on TV. Just like we watched the Championship, the Nation League in England on TV, so we can also project the National League as well on TV. Apart from glorifying the Nigerian Premier Football League alone, we can also make money, from broadcast rights as well from the National League.
How much are we only making from the NNL? I mean, from the NPFL already. How much are we making?
All these things are all about planning.
Okay.
If we plan very well, if the league organizers, the NFF, they put their hands very well, then we can leverage on the leagues.
For sure.
We can definitely leverage on them. So Bengalebele is talking about at least they've been getting a little money from the broadcast rights, of course, so far. I think if the organizers of the Nigerian National League as well also to the same direction, make sure that the league is in good shape. The players, of course, are well kitted. The teams are well organized. They have a very good pitch to play. The stadiums are okay.
Yeah.
That will be pleased. That who has that appeal for people to watch. I think definitely it can go on TV. So I think they are on that, and we hope that that will materialize in anytime soon. And for me, I think so far the organization has been good. And you take a look at how the teams they've shaped up in terms of performance in Conference A. We have Crown FC. I didn't even expect them, of course, to come up top in that particular group. But seeing them there, is something huge. I was expecting Warri Wolves, since they've been relegated in the Nigerian Premier Football League. It's been a long time, but I just hope that they try to see how to bounce back. They are second, of course, in that group. And for Group B, where you have Kun Khalifa of Owerri, I just hope that they stand the test of time to see if they can possibly get back to the Nigerian Premier Football League. Osun United has been one team that have been away from the NPFL scene, struggling in the NNL. We hope that they find a way, of course, to bounce back. You take a look at Group C. Wikitoris, yes, one traditional side in the NPFL, but they've left and they're still looking for a way, of course, to come back. Mighty Jets is one side that are also having a very fantastic form. I think the former coach of the Super Eagles of Nigeria is the one handling them, and we hope that they stand strong. UB Disasters in Group D top, and I asked myself, where's the likes of Gosla Pabio FC? Where's the likes of Sporting? What's their name again in Lagos? Sporting Lagos. These are questions I asked. And where is the Beyond Limits of Konde Tsunami? These are questions I'm asking at this point in time. That's to tell you the intensity of the Nigerian National League. So if we have this level of competition, if these teams are being projected on TV and people tend to see the level of competition in the league, of course they want to buy into it. Why are we so interested about the English Premier League? Is it not the level of competition? Of course, apart from the graphics, the way the media project the league and all of that, is also the level of competition. Oh, who is winning the league this year? Manchester City. It might be Chelsea, it might be Arsenal. Oh, who is going to win? So that's, interest is there. So if our leagues are being projected, our players are well known, the clubs are well known, why won't you make money from it? So I'm encouraging the MPFL, the NNL, the NFF. I know we've talked about this on so many occasions.
Yeah.
You know, it's not something we should be telling them. They know what it takes or what it means, you know, to run a league. So, but I'm also saying it again that they should go into the direction of projecting the league and making it standard.
All right, you heard it there from Kingsley. Yes, he's giving a pass mark to the first stanza of the NNL, talking about the National League out there. But then he further encouraged the league board as well to also do everything possible to see if we can have the NNL on TV, which I think is going to be a very Herculean task, I tell you. But then not unachievable, still very much achievable. But at this point, we'll take a quick break. When we are back, we bring you more stories coming in from the world of football. Don't go anywhere. All right, you're welcome back from that short break. Kingsley is still here with me, and together, rather, we are doing justice to some of the latest gist coming in from the world of football. As the Nigerian Premier Football League have been pointing in the direction of the forthcoming Niger Delta Sport Festival as an organic scouting ground for players. Honorable Benga Elegbeleye, the NPFL chairman, offered a tip while endorsing the festival schedule to hold from April 1st to 8th in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State. The former Director General of the National Sport Commission obviously has the pedigree to speak on the benefit of multi-sport events like the festival, having superintended the participation of Nigeria in the Commonwealth Games and the Winter Olympic Games, where the country made good medals return. He also specifically excited by the festival. ambassadors initiative, which he said would feed the aspirational hunger of budding athletes. The festival ambassador will unveil at a ceremony in Owerri, that is in Imo State, in February to March 7. Over 3,000 athletes and 600 coaches from 9 states will be in Uyo to compete for medals in 17 sports. Kingsley, Benga Elegbeleye is actually admonishing Nigerian Premier Football League clubs to watch out for the Niger Delta Sport Festival as a breeding ground to also fish out and unearth a new talent. I think for me this is a right advice for the NPFL, not just for the NPFL clubs, but also the NNL as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a good one, from Benga Elegbeleye. If you take a look at it, most of our NPFL teams do not have feeders team. Yeah, they do not. But that is not how it's supposed to be. If you take a look at, let's say England, that everyone always take, like say everyone always take example from, at this point in time, they have academies, where they even bring players, to the senior team. Even when it's okay, yeah, we have an injured player in the senior team, who is going to go back to the academy and get, players, from there to come and play. For example, Arsenal was in the likes of Lewis Kelly, Tawaneri, coming from the, academy, and now they're doing wonders now with the senior team, as a stand. But it's not the case down here for NPFL teams. They don't have those feeders, team. Apart from Remo Stars, that a little bit organized, they have an academy, they have where they breed players, You take a look at a club like Rivers United, you talk about Eyimba and the rest of them, they do not really have this feeder side. It is only when there's this under-15 championship that do come up, in Nigeria here, and clubs, of course, have to provide feeders team. And when that championship come up, that is where they go look for young boys in the streets to come form a team. As this is Rivers United under 15 boys, and they are going to play. And at the end of the day, after they win, probably maybe they manage to win the tournament, they disperse. You do not hear anything about those players, anymore, as it stands. So for me, I think it's a good initiative, from Benga Elegbeleye, telling the NPFL team to look into the National Sport Festival that will be coming up. They can also, be able to scout, players from that particular one. And for me, that's a good way to go. That's a good way to go, because at the end of the day, you do not have a standard, feeders team. So for you to get players down there, you'll be able to, of course, see quality players in the sport festival, and then be able to recruit them into your national team, train them, give them that necessary platform to be able to showcase themselves. And I think for me, it's a very good way, of course, to nurture talent. What is the essence of the National Sports Festival? Is to breed talent for the country. Whenever I want to go for Olympics or whatever, this is the ground where we get, of course, talent to be able to showcase or to represent us. It's just a national, the National Sports Festival is like a national Olympics. This is where our own Olympics starts. So we should be able to spot our talent, from there. So for me, I think it's a good one from Benga Elegbeleye.
Good one and a good call from Benga Elegbeleye, and not just footballers but other athletes. This should be a proper ground for us to, go out there, scout for some of these potential talent that can also be groomed for future purpose. The future starts here, they say. But moving on to the Nigerian Super Eagles, Nigerian football fans has expressed widespread optimism and excitement about the Super Eagles' new 39-man squad provision. 39-man provisional squad selected by head coach, talking about Eric Chel, for the crucial 2026 World Cup qualifying matches against Rwanda and Zimbabwe. X erupted with enthusiastic reactions, with supporters highlighting the strategic blend of experience, players and emerging talent that could potentially revive Nigeria's World Cup qualification hopes. The professional squad, which include the return of a veteran captain Ahmed Musa and the maiden call-up of promising talent like Tolu Akorodare and Christantus Uche has generated significant buzz among football enthusiasts. Another exciting inclusion is 21-year-old Uche, a Getafe midfielder who has been turning heads in La Liga, having featured in every league matches this season. Uche has already attracted interest from top clubs like Real Madrid, Chelsea, and Aston Villa. Kingsley, are you also among the excited Nigerians, you know, after learning of that 39-man provisional squad?
Excited? I'm not. No, I can't.
Because of the blend of old and you know, some of the new emerging talents.
I will be excited when the final list is out, and then if you actually meet my expectation, that's when, of course, my excitement will come. But for now, it's all about, you know, trying something. Richard is trying to put up something new at this point in time, and that's why he has called both the old and the new to come back, come and play. Let me see if you can, so that you won't sit down somewhere and say, this new coach did not invite me, you know, this, that. Come and do your best now. Let me see if you're good enough at the end of the day. So for me, I think the man is trying to see how he can, you know, integrate everybody and let them give their best. So with this now, I think everybody wants to give their best. That's the thing. So everybody wants to give their best, and at the end of the day, I just hope that, of course, he's going to pick the best and not being biased, you know, in terms of selection. From what we've gotten so far, I think he has, the NFF has come out to say that they won't influence Richard's decision in terms of player selection. So I just hope that, you know, that will be the case, you know, at the end of the day. So, you know, talking about excitement, I'm really waiting for the final list when it comes out, and then I will see those who have been chosen or selected for this particular World Cup qualifiers, and then I will ask, okay, let's see what they will do. Can they beat the likes of Rwanda, Zimbabwe, and the rest of them? Don't forget, they have to, of course, win 6 games at a stretch to make sure that they don't stand in that chance of, bringing calculator to calculate if, are we qualifying or we're not qualifying. Yesterday, FIFA just doled a very huge amount of money for the World Cup. $1 billion, a very huge one. Will the Super Eagles also miss out in this money as well, after missing that of Qatar, you know, as well? So it's a very big one. I believe by this moment, the NFF, they are worried because they know what they will stand to gain if the Super Eagles of Nigeria qualify, you know, for the World Cup. So let's just see what Eric Chair will be able to do. Now, we're not looking towards the direction. He's going to be our savior. We have brought him to save us, you know, from this, you know, situation at this moment. So let's just see what he will be able to do.
Let's see what Eric Chell will be able to do with this blend of old and new emerging talent in the Super Eagles. But I tell you, if you go to Twitter, you know, now known as X, I tell you, the excitement coming from the Super Eagles fans out there is showing that indeed there is hope that the Super Eagles may, just may, qualify for the World Cup despite the precarious position that we find ourselves in our group. But let's head straight to Europe this morning, as Nottingham Forest is expressing growing confidence about retaining Nigerian defender Ola Aina, with the clubs actively working to secure the players a long-term future amid their impressive Premier League campaign. According to a report from the Athletic, Forest is in an advanced discussion to extend Aina's contract, reflecting the player's crucial role in the team's remarkable season so far. Currently occupying third position in the Premier League, Forest have transformed their fortune under manager Nuno Espirito Santo, with Aina emerging as a key figure in their successful campaign. So far, the defender has been instrumental in the team's push for the UEFA Champions League spot. Kingsley, do you think that Nottingham Forest can also be able to hold on or wait off advances coming from different clubs for the services of one of their reliable defenders, talking about our own Ola Aina?
I think they can. It's just to, of course, you know, make the young man happy, increase the salary. That's what, of course, you'll be able to. That's what they, you know, they need to do. For Ola Aina, I don't think is that player that is really much, eager to leave. I think if everything has been done in terms of salary increments and of course the working environment is okay for him, he'll want to stay at Nottingham Forest. Taking a look at his body language, you see that the man is really happy, at Nottingham Forest, from what we've seen so far, and especially with their impressive performance so far. I think the man is willing to stay down there at Nottingham Forest. The only thing I just hope that he should do, the management should do, is to increase the salary. No laborer who want to work and at the end of the day he or she is doing well and there is no encouragement in terms of salary or any other means of encouraging the player. So I think that is what Aloluwa and Nane. But if he leaves and get to a bigger side, that will also be an advantage for him. Yeah, maybe teams like Arsenal, you never can tell, Chelsea, Manchester United, that would be a good one. If he goes down to maybe any of those big teams and do exploits, that will also give him that higher status. But I think for Nottingham Forest, what they just have to do is to make sure they treat the young man well.
Nottingham Forest need to treat Ola Aina well for him to stay and for them to be able to ward off all interest coming in from top clubs. We hear the likes of Liverpool at some point was in the chase for the signature of defender talking about Ola Aina. Away from that, let's head to the ever busy UEFA Champions League, the biggest club football in Europe, as Harvey Elliott scored with his first touch after coming on as a late substitute to give Liverpool an unlikely 1-0 win away to Paris Saint-Germain in the first leg of their heavyweight Champions League clash last night in the round of 16. Elsewhere, Harry Kane scored twice as Bayern Munich beat Bayern Leverkusen 3-0 on Wednesday, the first leg of their all-German last 16 tie in the UEFA Champions League. Kingsley, before we go to Bayern Munich, Liverpool, they literally suffered yesterday. If you had actually watched that very game, in fact, Paris Saint-Germain dictated play. Ball possession, goal on target, shot on target, every aspect of the game was dominated by Paris Saint-Germain, but they failed to take their chances. Just one glorious chance from Elliott, who was substituted, into the second half of the game, taking Mo Salah off. First touch, first goal. First shot, first goal for Liverpool. With the miracle of last night at Parc des Princes, is it right to say Liverpool has already gone past round of 16, or there's still much to play for?
I think it's right, almost right to say that, because Paris Saint-Germain, you play heaven and earth and you can't score. What's the chance that you're going to score at Anfield? But that's a big question as well. What's the probability that you score at Anfield? Yes, the probability, maybe someone is there. But Liverpool, yes, you played them everything you played, and you're not able to convert a goal. It's not about what you played. Did you win the game? That's the end point. You played everything, but for me, I think they would have probably look for a way to convert those chances they had. And Liverpool are getting this opportunity. This is a win away from home for Liverpool. It's a high, a very a high way to motivate them in the second leg of this particular one. So for me, I think it will be difficult for Paris Saint-Germain to get the job done, at Anfield at this point in time. So I think for me, it's almost right to say that Liverpool might be, getting this one, as it stands.
Right to say that Liverpool is already, having one leg on the other side of the divide so far. But other results that came through last night saw Inter Milan defeating Feyenoord 2-0 away from home. Bayern Munich, like I told you, defeated Bayern Leverkusen 3-0. That match saw a red card for Bayern Leverkusen. Benfica lost at home to a 10-man Barcelona, 1-0. Like we told you, Paris Saint-Germain lost at home to Liverpool. Don't forget that there are some Europa League games that is set to come live tonight, as AZ Alkmaar welcome Tottenham Hotspur. FCSB welcome Lyon. Fenerbahce will play host to Rangers. Real Sociedad trade tackles against Manchester United. AS Roma welcome Atletico Club in that very Ajax will be at home to welcome Frankfurt, while Bolo Glimt trade tackles against Olympiacos. Victoria Plzeň welcome AS Roma. Conference League matches as well We'll also see Chelsea, playing host to Copenhagen in that very well Molde welcome Liga Warsaw, while Panathinaikos will play host to Fiorentina. Real Betis, 3 tackles against Victoria de Guimaraes, while Borak Banja Luka welcome Rapid Vienna in that very well. Maybe when we come back in the evening, we'll do well to give you some of the match analysis, building up to some of this game. But at this point, this is where we are going to drop the anchor. Don't forget, I did the show this morning alongside Kingsley Emmanuel. My name is Emmanuel Michael, the Prime Minister of the Airways. Always nice doing this, with you. Don't forget that peace and unity remains a pathway to progress. Always enjoy here on Atlantic Television Network. Bye.